Director's cut. Oh my gosh. You guys, this is a topic that we have all dealt with. Probably every single one of us. I'm sure of it. And so again, a very important one to talk about. So we're going to start with talking about imposter syndrome. And then we're going to move on to gaining confidence. So, oh my gosh, just buckle your seats, get your coffee. Let's go. All right. So ladies, what is imposter syndrome to you? What does it mean? How have you dealt with imposter syndrome?
First of all, I'd never heard of it. When you said, hey, we're going to talk about imposter syndrome, I had never heard of it. So I had to look it up. In fact, and then I'm going, oh, was it artificial intelligence? No. What was it we're talking about? I don't know. Imposter syndrome. So it's very common for us to feel in our skin like an imposter, like we're some kind of phony. And especially to feel, and I would say as women, but they said 70% of all people have imposter syndrome. So it's not specifically women, but that we don't feel that we have achieved, like if we achieve a level of success or something, we feel like we didn't deserve it or we're somehow not good enough. We feel like a phony. So that's what I have learned. And then of course, once I learned what it is, I have seen it and experienced it.
Yeah.
So,
I didn't know I experienced it, but I did. Yeah. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. Yeah. You're going to share how you experienced it?
What you guys think about imposter syndrome.
Well, I've definitely dealt with it. I feel like there's so many ways that we can be perfectly set up to feel imposter syndrome. And for me, being a young teenage mom, not getting a degree, then starting to work in the areas that we worked in with coaching, both with business, finances, marriage, all the things, I really struggled with, who am I to feel like I can share this? And even though I did, actively have some people saying, hey, you should share this, it took me a while to feel like, oh, okay, yeah, I guess I have gained some knowledge and I have learned some things. And as my boss would say, I have gotten my degree in, what do you call it? In the street of hard knocks. And so, learning that is okay was really difficult for me. And being a leader in multiple arenas, it was something that I had to actually actively and intentionally heal and grow from, because everywhere I would go, I would feel like I wasn't worthy or wasn't good enough. And learning that, oh, wait, there's a reason I'm in this room of leaders. Why is it every time I come here, I feel like I'm the less of everybody else? And so that, and I can't say I have it perfect. I'm still growing. I'm a work in progress.
Absolutely. Yeah. In especially the business world, that's a common, I think that's where I learned what imposter syndrome was. And then you kind of assess your life and go, oh yeah, okay, I totally know what that means. And really it's just unpacking what the mental state and kind of mindset behind that. And for me personally, it's, there are days I wake up and that's just, you go to that space and you have to unwind that again, even though you've said all your affirmations or you have achieved a certain level of something, you've, I don't know, have the degree, whatever it is, you look at, how can this be? How can I, be in this space? And so for me, it's a constant process of, I think, just setting my mindset correctly, and creating tools to deal with it, because that imposter syndrome really is, it's almost like a battle with yourself. Mm-hmm. To me, It's that creep of that negative tape in your head, and you're kind of like, where did this come from? So yeah.
For me, it was kind of from where I said, kind of being single mom, raising this and doing these things. And what I did for me personally is I allowed other people to influence my decisions of that and place that in my head, thinking that I wasn't worthy necessarily of doing certain things because I hadn't done this and I hadn't done this. But for me, I just stood back and allowed some of those influences to affect me, but now I'm just realizing how to kind of overcome them, I guess, and showing up for myself, being authentic in that way. So,
and I think what you just said about being authentic in that way is so important, Dawn, because I think for me, the thing that has helped me the most to get out of that imposter syndrome has been other women sharing authentically how they have felt. I was in a room one time, and I won't go too long into the story, but there were women in there I know were definitely millionaires. I mean, they have done some amazing things in business. And again, I was sitting there like, why am I in this room? And this was at the beginning of my coaching. And, and again, I had a hard time recognizing that, the person that invited these same women also invited me. But then she had us go through our struggles and the very things that I was going through in my own head, the negative talk, that everything I was hearing these women say. And it was such a good eye opener for me. They authentically shared where they were, their struggles, all of it. And it was literally the same stuff that was going on in my mind. And it was such a good, like, oh, okay, I'm not by myself in this.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, I think that's huge of coming out of it is realizing that you're not alone in that thought process, that other people struggle with it, even if they look like they have it all together. And I love when people do share that. They're like, you think I have it all together, well, look at my life, what a mess, and that we all have those messy corners of our life, whatever it is, and that can really help, I think, make us aware that we're not alone in it. And one of the things that I've had to create is a tool where really I just go back to it over and over again. And I need to actually probably dig out the journal that I started this in. And it's just realizing that everything that you are made up of contributes to who you are and to your experience, to your knowledge, to how you are, imparting or impacting the world. And sometimes it's actually, the really difficult negative things that we perceive to be negative. And while they may not have been something enjoyable to go through, that knowledge and that experience actually sets you apart to be more of an expert in an area, or be more empathetic, or be able to serve people or coach people or whatever, and show up in that way. And yeah, that's really something that I have to do on a daily practice, and something that's become part of even what I work with in my business to help people uncover that piece.
you have a word for it.
I do. I should share. It's called Your Awesome Sauce. And the reason why it's a sauce is because when you make a sauce, it's all sorts of ingredients. It's not just one thing. It's several things. And you've got sometimes sweet stuff and spicy stuff and sour stuff. And, if anyone is familiar with cooking, you always have to have that balance. You know, you watch these cooking shows and they're like, there wasn't enough acid in this or whatever. The umami was not quite right. Well, those are just words to explain that, you know, there's a balance of all these flavors, of all these things that create an amazing, awesome sauce. And that is what we should embrace, is that we all have our own little bottle of awesome sauce that we have. If we embrace it, then we can share it, and someone needs it shared with them in this world.
Such a good point.
We don't know who that is sometimes, but someone needs to hear your experience, because that will help them in their journey.
So in that, you need to know thyself.
Yeah,
That's Plato, right? Know thyself.
Right.
So you gotta figure that out. And I have a friend, and her term is, you know, similar to awesome sauce, but what are your superpowers?
Yep.
Right. So these things, and often I'm just like, I don't know. I'm just pretty good at a lot of things, but what is my, you know, what am I really good at? Or what, I'm always asking Mariah, you know, what is it? What is my superpowers? What am I doing? Yeah. Am I just fun? Is that all you know?
That's a pretty good superpower.
Nothing wrong with that.
I know. So anyway, but you know, just really, what does it take to know yourself?
Yeah.
So some of that reflective time, sometimes an outside person, a friend or a therapist or your mom or someone to help you just really look at, you know, who am I? What I always loved the magazine quizzes, but there's better ones than the 17 magazine quiz. But you know, some kind of personality test or something that could just say, this is, you know, I am expressive responsive. I know that about myself. If I feel it, you're gonna know because I'm gonna express it. If I'm happy, I laugh. If I'm sad, I cry.
It's just what it is.
But know yourself
Absolutely.
and love yourself. So
Yeah.
you know, the love others as much as you love yourself does not mean love others more than yourself. Love others just, you know, but you gotta love yourself. And I love working with 6-year-olds because often we'll say, what do you love? I love my dog. I love myself. I love, you know, I'm like, good. That's, you know, we grew out of that, but we should love ourselves. We're great.
That's true. I mean, they'll say, I'm great. I'm pretty great. Like we grow out of that. And
I'm so good at this.
And we're told that's, you know,
Right.
so egotistical. And it's like, no, it's
true.
I'm pretty dang great.
And so are you.
I always love to ask people too, would you be as harsh on anybody else as you are on yourself? You know, if we flipped the table and instead of me talking to you about this, what if it was vice versa? Would you say those same things to me? And every time it's, well, no, I wouldn't say that to you. Well, then why are you saying it to yourself?
Yeah.
It's a hard question, but I think it's so key. We would never treat anybody else the way that we sometimes treat ourselves.
Very true.
Yeah.
So I think, we could again, as always, we could go on and on about this topic, but I do want to make sure that we don't leave you in that place and we go to the positive of how do you start to gain confidence? And as I was thinking about, there's so many tips and tricks about confidence. Confidence is an ever-moving, ever-changing work in progress, I think. I don't think you're going to get to a place in your life where I'm super confident and you're just going to be there forever. It just doesn't work like that. It is a practice. So I can think of so many ideas and tips for gaining confidence. So I think what I would love to do is maybe each of us could at least share a tip about how to gain confidence. And I will actually start with, I think who you surround yourself with is such a key to gaining confidence, because the people around you, they say you are like the 5 people that you surround yourself with. And so if you're surrounding yourself with negative people, it is going to be really difficult for you to pull yourself out of that negativity and not think that same way. That is a huge reason why we created G.A.L.S in the first place. I wanted to be around women that I could empower, encourage, we could have fun together. And quite frankly, I wanted a no drama group of women. I wanted to know that if Amanda and Patty Lynn are having a conversation about me, and this is just something we trust in G.A.L.S, we talk about this a lot, but I know and I can trust that they're either going to be talking about how awesome I am, or it's a solutions-based conversation, because let's face it, we've got to have those. But I know and I trust that they're both going to point each other in the direction of relationship and whatever it is that we need to fix, on fixing that in a loving, caring way. And so that was really key to me. And just knowing that in the back of my mind gives me confidence in so many other areas. So that's my tip. Watch who you surround yourself with.
That's great.
I like that. For me, I like journaling. I journal, remind myself, make lists. We were talking about that, to make a list of the things that I like about myself. But then also kind of, I like the surround yourself with that, because for me, it was just, for me, I like to give and share. So I like to be around people and bring my energy to other people. And I think that's important. So one of my things I like to do is just empower other women to live their everyday life with a little dash of diva. So, and there's nothing wrong with that. It doesn't make you more than anybody else. It just makes you who you are and your own energy. So,
Love that.
Well, and I love how you both kind of mentioned relationships and just thinking about not really asking those people. And this is what I always do. It's just like, what am I really good at? Or what are my superpowers? What is it about, in those times when you're feeling like, what do I have to offer? Right. And I know years ago, there was this trend on Facebook, say 5 positive things about you, and I'll come and say 5 positive things about me, right? Mm-hmm. So, or even in a classroom, sometimes you're like, write down something that's good about someone and trade papers and, but really just hearing from other, how do you see me? What do you see that's good in me? Because I have all things that cloud my judgment, and whether it be insecurities or self-doubt or low self-esteem at times or whatever, but you see that I'm good at this, or whatever. It's good to hear from others in relationship who know you and love you and can speak to you.
Yeah, because often we're definitely not seeing it for ourselves, for sure. For me, I think one tip for confidence is intentionally starting your day with just words of affirmation. I know it seems really simple, but and I know it seems woo-woo to some people. So you can look at it however you want, whether it's words of affirmation, words of encouragement, whatever that is. When you start your day focused on like the top 5 things that you really are amazing at, or really make up a core piece of who you are, then you shift and say them out loud. So I used to, when I worked in corporate, so it's kind of funny when you work, you have to get up and go work a job. Like you have all of these little habits, and like when you work for yourself, it's like, oh, I need to do this. Get up and do this. But get up and say it out loud. So I used to be driving, and I would have these words of affirmation. I would just state a few times over and over. And it really helps to ground you in who you are. And like you said, know thyself. It as you discover more about yourself, as you want to focus on other things, you can add those to that list of affirmations, or that list of encouragement to yourself. And it really, to me, there's an energy behind that you can shift your attitude, you can shift your mindset. And words are powerful, especially when we're speaking them, because it's not just that we're hearing ourselves, but we're actually physically feeling the vibrations of that word in our own body. So it's a very different thing, which is, it's rooted in who we are as humans. We are auditory and verbal.
Our
Like
brain
that's
works.
how we learn things. That's how we've passed down traditions. That's how we've passed down stories. And we've lost a lot of that in our phone.
Right.
So I think that would be my biggest tip is if anything, try and do that each day.
I think that can go for self-confidence, but I also think that can go with financial. I mean,
Oh, yeah.
financial and personal, like that whole money mindset. I think depending on where you're at in your world or how your situation was growing up, we're conditioned to think certain things, whether it's what we're told financially, for confidence, for family, just ideas. And if it's something that's more of a negative, it stays in there. So if we take time to really think about those things and flip those and make with intention, and then say those to ourselves, I think it's super important to do that. Because if you say I'm gonna be a failure, or I'm never gonna get that because I don't have any money, you have that mindset that you're gonna like, hey, no, I'm gonna do this, and I'm gonna do this, and I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna share my story, and then I'm gonna move on, and I'm gonna do this. And having that intention, I think, really can not only empower other people, but empower yourself. So,
I feel like I have 100 more tips on being confident. Do we each have one more, do you think? Should we do one more? Because I feel like we can give so many tips. I would actually say another one that I love, and it really plays into everything I think we said, is to borrow sometimes from someone else's confidence in you. I share this a lot with my coaching because oftentimes I do have people come to me with that imposter syndrome and feeling like, who am I to share this? Who am I to do that? And that so often between their story and the skills that they have and the things that they've learned over the years, I can tell like they need to be doing what it is that they are working on doing. And so I will often share with them, borrow my confidence in you. Because I genuinely, truly believe that what you are about to share is so important. And sometimes it's really difficult for us to see that for ourselves. But maybe like along with asking people what they think of you and things like that, I've actually assigned that to people. Go ask the people closest to you what they think about you, what words come to mind, or all of that. But sometimes if you can borrow that from somebody else, that's going to help you to realize your worth, your value. And I really personally do believe that every woman has a story to share. That's just a personal belief of mine. That's why we're gorgeous and awe-inspiring and gals, right? So do what you need to do to get confident to share that. It's way too important for you not to. Any other tips? Because I don't want to make it feel like you have to. But also, I feel like we could just, again, another conference. Or we have a lot of conferences.
Or just a lot of segments at a conference. Like there'll be what breakouts and that.
Right?
Too many.
One thing is just know who those cheerleaders are in your life.
Yes.
You know, my mom was my biggest cheerleader. And when she died, I just felt like, who is on my side? Like, without judgment and without, just always believing in me that I could do it. And I knew my husband loved me and believed in me, but like my mom, she was there my whole life, like, you can do it.
right.
Yes.
And she saw me mess up and still believed I could do it, so she knew me. And so my sisters have stepped in, of course, my husband, and then friends. But who are those cheerleaders who believe in you and have seen you in thick and thin? You've been open and authentic with them. Maybe they know the raw, but then they also know your potential. And you just be like, go for it. You can do it. I believe in you. So just figure out who those cheerleaders are in your life.
I had to
Love
piggyback on that as well. This is so important because those are the cheerleaders that see the things in you that you don't see in yourself.
Yeah.
Or they remind you. So
So good.
Yeah, I think it comes back to what you said at the beginning, is who you surround yourself with. So I think really that's surrounding yourself with good people, surrounding yourself with good content and things that you're putting into your body, because it's just like food. Other things that we're putting into our body through watching or through hearing, it impacts us.
Mm-hmm.
It can shade, and we can be intentional in what that is, so that what's going in truly is something that is nourishing us and building us up and giving us that confidence. And if you struggle with imposter syndrome, then you find those things that speak to that, because then you're going to resonate with it and get ideas as to how to conquer that in your own life.
I love it. Okay, well, like I said, we could go on and on this topic. We really could. I've got like 10 more loaded up in my head. I really do. But we won't do that to you. Yeah, we gotta keep these not too crazy long. So if you guys have questions, put them in the comments. We would love to answer them and help you if we can. Of course, if you're following us from YouTube, please find us on Facebook. We have a lot more stuff going on than there. We're a free group, so we'd love to have you. Subscribe, like, comment, do all the things.
Right.
And I think that'll do it for this month. So we'll see you next time. And stay gorgeous and awe-inspiring.
Yay!
Woohoo! Bye.